Welcome, dear students, to a history class of Standard 9th. Today we will be doing Chapter 5, Education. In this chapter, we shall review main stages and schemes in the development of the educational system in India. We shall take into consideration primary, secondary as well as higher education, and besides research institutes in some representative areas. This will also give us an idea of the educational system throughout the country. The first census of independent India in 1951 revealed the extreme complexity and intractability of the educational issues in the country. In the first census, the literacy level was 17%. Improving this percentage was a serious challenge for the Government of India. Several remedial schemes were put in place to deal with it. Primary education refers to the schooling given to children in the 6 to 14-year age group. Operation Blackboard is a centrally funded program that was launched in 1988. Soon after the 1986 Rajiv Gandhi National Education Policy was released to provide all primary schools in the nation with the minimum required necessary services. The purpose of the scheme is to provide the requisite institutional equipment and educational material for students studying in primary organizations to improve their education. For example, at least 2 proper classrooms, toilets, one of the 2 teachers to be female, a blackboard, maps, laboratory apparatus, a small library, a playground, sports equipment, etc. In 1994, this scheme was expanded and provision was made for 1 additional classroom, for appointing 1 more teacher with an enrollment of more than 100 students, with priority given to girls' schools with majority of scheduled caste and tribe students, and schools in rural areas. 50% of female teachers to be appointed. The centrally sponsored scheme of District Primary Education Program DPEP was launched in 1994 as a major initiative to revitalize the primary education system and to achieve the objective of universalization of primary education. It was implemented in 7 states including Maharashtra. DPEP adopts a holistic approach to universalize access, retention, and improve learning achievement, and to reduce disparities among social groups. Adopting an area-specific approach with district as the unit of planning, the key strategies of the program have been to retain the sensitivity to local conditions and ensuring full participation of the community. Objectives of DPEP are to provide children access to primary education through either the formal or non-formal stream, to reduce differences in enrollment, dropout rates, and learning achievement among gender and weaker section groups to less than 5%, to reduce overall primary dropout rates for all children to less than 10%, to ensure achievement of basic literacy and numeracy competencies and minimum of 40% achievement in other competencies by all primary education children. The Government of India initiated The National Program of Nutritional Support to Primary Education, that is, the Midday Meal Scheme on 15th August 1995. The objective of the scheme is to help improve the effectiveness of primary education by improving the nutritional status of primary school children. Padma Bhushan Tarabai Modak, a pioneer of preschool education, is rightly called as the Montessori mother. She has made a significant contribution to preschool education in India. Her method brought in a silent revolution in the tribal community of Kosbad and Bordi. Children would gather in and around Gram Bal Shikshan Kendra in sufficient numbers. Tarabai and Anutai started an unusual routine. A lot of grass and weeds had grown in the compound. They began clearing it with khurpis and the children would stop by to watch them. A supply of child-sized khurpis had already been acquired by these astute educators. They offered these and asked the children if they wanted to join in the weeding operations. Eager volunteers came forward and the activity became popular. Gradually, claywork, drawing, painting, and playing with learning materials appeared on the scene, working on the assumption that it would be more appropriate to conduct their special Anganwadi in harmony with their ways of living. The tribal Anganwadi routine was more or less like collecting the children for cleaning the open space, individual cleanliness activities, prayer, songs, stories, dances, dramatization, games, going out on strolls for nature study, exhibitions of playthings collected by children, planned excursions for observation of particular activities and plants, systematically distributing and eating simple snacks like roast gram, parched rice, etc. An important aspect of the Anganwadi program was the informal education of the parents and the older children in proper practice of child care. In order to bring about the fundamental changes in the field of education, the Education Minister of India, Maulana Abdul Kalam Azad, recommended the set-up of separate commission for secondary education. Accordingly, in 1952-53, Mutliar Commission was set up. The aim of this commission was to examine the existing system of secondary education in the country. It aimed to suggest measures to improve it. In 1964, a commission was appointed under the chairmanship of Dr. D.S. Kothari. Dr. J.P. Naik made valuable contributions to the work of this commission. One of the main recommendations of the Kothari Commission was the standardization of educational system on 10+2+3 pattern across the country. Brief details on important recommendations of Kothari Commission. Provision of free and compulsory education. It recommended providing free and compulsory education for children aged 6 to 14 years. Languages. The Commission recommended adopting a three-language formula at state levels. It intended to promote Hindi, English, and a regional language in non-Hindi speaking states. The Kothari Commission recommended promoting regional languages, Sanskrit, as well as international languages, preferably English. The Kothari Commission recommended providing favorable and adequate service conditions for teachers and providing them with the necessary freedom to conduct and publish those findings. To promote social justice, the Kothari Commission focused on girls' education, education of backward classes, education of tribal people, physically and mentally handicapped children. As science and maths are an integral part of the growth of any nation, The Kothari Commission recommended making maths and science an integral part of education. The Commission recommended reforms to improve education at university level by paying special attention to postgraduate level research, training, providing adequate libraries, laboratories and funds. Maharashtra government adopted the 10+2+3 pattern in 1972 and conducted the first 10th standard board exam in 1975. After independence, the first action of a great significance to be taken by the Government of India in the field of education was the appointment of the University Education Commission under the chairmanship of Dr. S. Radhakrishnan, a distinguished scholar and former Vice Chancellor of Banaras University, who rose to become the second President of India. The Commission accepted the 5-year plans method. It began to sanction and disburse grants to the universities on behalf of the government. The Commission undertakes planning of university education, coordination of syllabi, giving primacy to national needs through education, and implementation of various schemes of higher education. It has done valuable work in establishing university development councils, centers for advanced studies for postgraduate education, establishing new universities. After the advent of television in India, it initiated the countrywide classroom program, which is telecasted by Doordarshan on behalf of the Commission. National Council of Educational Research and Training. The Government of India's Ministry of Education resolved on 27th July 1961 to establish the National Council of Educational Research and Training, which formally began operation on 1st September 1961. The council was formed by merging 7 existing national government institutions. The major objectives of NCERT and its constituent units are to undertake, promote and coordinate research in areas related to school education, prepare and publish model textbooks, supplementary material, newsletters, journals and develops educational kits, multimedia digital materials, etc. In addition to research, development, training, extension, publication and dissemination activities, NCERT is an implementation agency for bilateral cultural exchange programs with other countries in the field of school education. It provides guidance and cooperation in the area of primary and secondary education to the state governments. It has been involved in teaching learning techniques and conducting talent search examinations at national level. SCERT were established in all states on the lines of the NCERT. MSCERT is the apex institute of state. Its function is to provide academic support and improve the quality of primary education. MSCERT works in the area of quality improvement in school education. It carries the responsibility of teacher education, research and evaluation. It assists and advises the state government on educational matters and also undertakes and promotes educational research and uses the same for betterment of school education. MSCERT works on teacher training, curriculum development and implementation, control over diet of school students and conducting program like Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan. Jeevan Section magazine is being published on the 3rd of every month by the publications section. This magazine has been playing a vital role in the qualitative improvement in the school education. At present, there are 73,000 subscribers of this magazine, which includes teachers, individuals, primary schools, D.Ed and B.Ed colleges. The Maharashtra State Council of Educational Research and Training, popularly known as Bal Bharti, was established in Pune on 27 January 1967. Bal Bharti prepares textbooks for school children. The textbooks are made in 8 languages, namely Marathi, Hindi, English, Urdu, Kannada, Sindhi, Gujarati and Telugu. It also publishes a monthly magazine known as Kishore for children. In 1986, the government led by Rajiv Gandhi introduced a new national policy on education. The new policy called for special emphasis on the removal of disparities and to equalize educational opportunity, especially for Indian women, scheduled tribes and the scheduled caste communities. The main objective of the National Policy of Education of 1986 and Program of Action 1992 was to establish a national system of education which implies that all students, irrespective of caste, creed, gender and religion, have access to education of a comparable quality. The NPE 86 recommends that the institutions of national importance like UGC, NCERT, etc. will be strengthened to enable them to give shape to national system of education and to cope with the emerging demands of the nation. The primary education curriculum of 1988 was prepared on the basis of the plan of action designed at the national level for the effective implementation of the National Policy of Education 1986. Satellite Instructional Television Experiment or SITE was an experimental satellite communications project launched in India in 1975, designed jointly by NASA and the Indian Space Research Organization. The project made available informational television programs to rural India. The main objectives of the experiment were to educate the financially backward and academically illiterate people of India on various issues via satellite broadcasting, and also to help India gain technical experience in the field of satellite communications. Eknath Chitnis, a scientist with ISRO, played an important role in it. The United Nations had declared 1970 as the International Education Year. In the same year, a seminar was organized in New Delhi on the subject of Open University by Government of India Departments of Education and Social Welfare. In 1974, the government appointed a committee under the chairmanship of P. Parthasarathy and the Open University took shape on 20th September 1985. Indira Gandhi National Open University, known as IGNOU, is a central open learning university, is named after former Prime Minister of India, Indira Gandhi. IGNOU is run by the central government of India and with a total active enrollment of over 4 million students, claims to be the largest university in the world. IGNOU was founded to serve the Indian population by means of distance and open education, providing quality higher education opportunities to all segments of society. It also aims to encourage coordinate and set standards for distance and open education in India, and to strengthen the human resources of India through education. Apart from teaching and research, extension and training form the mainstay of its academic activities. It also acts as a national resource center and serves to promote and maintain standards of distance education in India. Those who are unable to get college education in the formal way are given concessions in eligibility criteria, age, and other conditions for admission to this university. In 1990, the IGNOU started an audio-visual distance education program through Akashvani and Doordarshan. It conducted more than 1,000 curricula of various branches. It provides facilities for education through 58 training centers in the country and 41 centers in foreign countries. Dear students, today we have discussed about the educational schemes in the field of primary, secondary and higher secondary, role of NCERT, national policy on education, use of satellite and IGNOU. We will continue with the lesson in our next class. That's all for this class. Thanks for watching.